Home prices still growing, just at a more normal pace. If you're feeling a bit muddy on what's happening with home prices, that's no surprise. Some people are still saying prices are falling, even though data proves otherwise. Part of that misconception is because people are getting their information from unreliable sources. But it's also coming from some media coverage misrepresenting what the data really shows. So, to keep things simple, here's what you really need to know using real data you can trust. In the housing market, there are predictable ebbs and flows that happen each year. It's called seasonality. Spring is the peak home buying season when the market is most active. That activity is typically still strong in the summer but begins to wane as the cooler months approach. Home prices follow along with seasonality because prices appreciate most when something is in high demand. That's why there's a reliable long-term home price trend. As the data shows, at the beginning of the year, home prices grow, but not as much as they do when entering the spring and summer markets. That's because the market is less active in January and February since fewer people move in the cooler months. As the market transitions into the peak home buying season in the spring, activity ramps up, and home prices go up a lot more in response. Then, as fall and winter approach, prices still grow, just at a slower pace as activity eases again. In a nutshell, nationally prices aren't falling, it's just that price growth is beginning to normalize. Moving forward, there's a chance the media will misrepresent this slowing of home price growth as prices falling. So don't believe everything you see in the headlines. So, if you see something in the headlines that's confusing, don't just take it at face value. Ask a trusted real estate professional for more information. When it comes to what's happening in the housing market, there's a lot of confusion going around right now. You may hear one thing in conversation with your friends, see something totally different on the news, and read something on social media that contradicts both of those thoughts. And, if you're thinking about making a move, that can leave you with a lot of lingering questions. That's where a trusted local real estate agent comes in. Here are the top 3 questions people are asking about today's housing market, and the data to help answer them. 1. What's next for mortgage rates? Mortgage rates are higher than they've been in recent years. And, if you're looking to buy a home, that impacts how much you can afford. That's why so many buyers want to know what's ahead for mortgage rates. The answer to that question is, no one can say for certain, but here's what we know based on historical trends. There's a long-standing relationship between mortgage rates and inflation. Basically, when inflation is high, mortgage rates tend to follow suit. Over the past year, inflation was up, so mortgage rates were as well. But inflation is easing now. And this is why the Federal Reserve has recently paused their federal funds rate hikes, which means many experts believe mortgage rates will begin to come down. And in some ways, we've started to see hints of slightly lower mortgage rates in recent weeks. But it's certainly been volatile and will likely continue to be that way going into next year. Some ongoing variation is to be expected, but the anticipation is that in 2024, we'll see a downward trend. As Aziz Sundarji, strategist at Home Economics, says, the bottom line is that interest rates are likely to be lower, perhaps even lower than many optimists think, in the weeks and months to come. 2. Where are home prices headed? While there's been a lot of concern prices would come crashing down this year, data shows that didn't happen. In fact, home prices are rising in most of the nation. Experts say that trend will continue, just at a slower pace that's much more normal for the housing market, and that's a good thing. 3. Is a recession around the corner? While recession talk has been a common thing over the past few years, there's good news on that front. The Wall Street Journal polls experts on this topic regularly. And last year at this time, most of them thought a recession would have happened by now. But as experts look at all the leading indicators today, they're changing their minds and saying a recession is getting less and less likely. Remember, it's normal to see home price growth slow down as the year goes on. And that definitely doesn't mean home prices are falling. They're just rising at a more moderate pace. Home price appreciation is returning to normal seasonality, and that's a good thing. If you have questions about what's happening with prices in our local area, let's connect. Contact me to talk more about the housing market questions on your mind as we head into the new year.